Apologies for the quality. I always say that. My actual better phone is currently uploading in the hotel. So I brought my smashed to bits phone. And yeah, we're in a castle here in Tripoli. And this is the base chamber. I'm going to give you some perspective in a minute. It's going to be a little 5-minute video. I'll take you right up to the top. These are the sorts of places that would be certainly closed for health and safety if we were in any kind of, let's say, developed country. This will be one of the closed tunnels that goes about 10 kilometres to the old historic part of Tripoli, which I think is now called Minas, or Mina, I think Mina, which is essentially on the waterfront. It's the historic city. This would have been the castle guarding over that port, which is, as I said, in the souk now, 10 kilometres away on a bit of high ground. So, I mean, I won't make this little video into one of my rant tangent narratives. I don't believe that any of this architecture, though, in essence, was from a period in time, let's say, that was less advanced than we are today. History is usually connotated a term with kind of a less developed point in our timeline. However, I would dispute that on pretty much every level. We have certainly regressed, and the loop of regression and progression is an infinite one, intended to, I say, bolster the Kabbalistic elite that have kind of been at the top of the pyramid for time immemorial. Anyway, that's a little overview. Let's go back up the stairs. Thank God I have a flashlight. We are deep here. We are very, very deep. It's pretty incredible, this. And I've only been in this castle a few minutes. The entrance fee is a very reasonable 400,000 Lebanese. With inflation, that equates to, I think it's what, £3.40? Essentially $4.50. My God. So I'm trying to give you guys perspective of my Moto G53 that has seen better days. God. But the architecture is just phenomenal. There's a lot of these castles, particularly in the Templar region, i.e. Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, and I guess parts of Turkey, and again the Mediterranean fringes of Europe. It's phenomenal. Just the level of thought that's gone into these. They often are a maze. There's one that I'm going to tomorrow or the day after in Syria, and across, which is Chevalier, Castle Chevalier, I believe. My French is pretty poor, but that's, I guess, the most, along with one of the castles in Jordan, I believe, it's the most famous Templar castle in the world. Should we go over there? The thing is, I've got sandals on. I literally just cleaned them last night, and that looks soft. We're going to give it a go. Put my shades in my pocket. Do you think this is like a false floor? I'm going to go like straight through and put my weight on it. That's so soft. Sink into this dirt. See, I love the fact that you can just roam around as you please. In Europe, there'd be some little... fuck, I'm so dirty. There'd be some little Karen telling you can't go here. Okay. Nothing super awe-inspiring. Oh, there we go. We've got the original lintel up there, or a original lintel. Isn't that fantastic? See, look at the stone. Look at the... God, it's almost like petrified. It's almost like a kind of organic compound you find at the base of a lake or in the sea, like a coral. Look at the way the erosion has hit that stone. And that's, again, this is what my narrative... In fact, look at all of this. That's my narrative, really. A lot of these constructs, I know it's going to sound mad to those people that think they've studied medieval history as a whole since, the beginning of their childhood, and they somehow have self-indulged themselves as experts in the field of archaeology and history and all the subcategories, whether it's paleontology or Neolithic period, as to being somewhat, knowledgeable and having an understanding of, the true, we say that loosely, historical timeline, but it's all nonsense. I really believe a lot of this material, which we cool stone with all its different categories. It's sandstone, or it's limestone, or it's granite, or whatever. I think it was all just organic matter. I really do think it was compressed mud, or a form of wattle and daub, which is, essentially mud and cow manure with bits of hay and grass and that sort of stuff, twiglets. Or it would have been wood at one point. Blocks of wood, carved blocks of wood, just giant blocks of wood that they would have coated with a lime mortar and perhaps wattle and daub as well, or mud or whatever, for the solidification process, if that's even a word. And, over time, with various natural cataclysms, it's become what we call stone. But I mean, the air holes, it all speaks for itself. It was organic matter. It was just all where it decomposes, it breathes, in essence, just like your feces when you drop it into a long drop. Anyway, let's continue on. Beautiful castle, really, fantastic. If you want to come here, it's low season, so it closes at 3. Opens at 8 a.m, closes at 3, and I think they don't let customers in after 2. And I'm told you need 2 to 3 hours, which honestly I was surprised at when I saw the castle from the outside and looked at the map, because it's the periphery of the castle is it's quite compact, but the thing is it's very deep. It's really built into this mound. It's really, and it's super complex, as you can see, which makes it kind of exciting. It's filled with all these rooms. It's like a labyrinth, which is, I guess, the idea. The idea was to make it a labyrinth for defensive purposes, but also to utilise the space to the max. You want to have as many aspects of this castle as possible. If there's a siege, you're going to need to squeeze as many people in, with all the different class and status groups and places for the animals and the grain and the weaponry. Incredible. And the one in Jordan, I can't remember, it's called Krakdi something or other, expectedly. That one is absolutely vast. And I think the Chevalier one I'll be heading to in Syria shortly is also rather incredible. This is interesting. This is all artificial. You see, you leave this 20 years, no one would know the difference. In fact, this lintel I'm standing on might not be original either. They're just taking some stone, some masonry that's been left from other parts of the castle that's a bit derelict, and they've just built this sort of drainage, this new... it's very easy for archaeologists to manipulate stuff. That's why it takes so long. You go to places and you never actually see people working on them, which is very suspicious. And, 30 years later, there's still just a pile of tools in the corner, because that's how you rewrite history. You change all the little features that may lead people with a little bit of common sense to question standard historical narratives. And then you kind of just play out this mainstream idea that, these slits in the walls, it wasn't just for light, it was so archers could fend off attackers. It's just absolutely ludicrous. You think an archer could fend off an attacker from there? The only thing you could fend off is if there's a giant group of people and you are just launching arrows into that mass, which would be very, very inefficient. Some of the deeper ones on the bastions, on the towers, you couldn't even fit a longbow inside that, or a crossbow. The breadth of the crossbow would just not enable you to take an accurate shot. So that's another narrative that they splay out in every castle, every fortification across the world. It's absolute bullshit. You've got to think, guys. I know it's very difficult for a lot of people. I don't want to sound, Jesus, what was that? Patronising. But it's all bollocks. Everything they teach you is just nonsense. It's nonsense. It's pure propaganda. There might be a sprinkle of truth in there to get people kind of on side, let's say. But most of it is bollocks. And they really do manipulate every aspect of history that might, at some point, as I said, enable people to think outside the box and question, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't really make sense. That's how they retain their authority. Right, let's get out in the light. I apologise. This is one of the darker depths of the fortress, and God, we've only covered a tiny percentage. And I'm being brisk because I've got to go to Syria tomorrow. I've got some academic submission to post, which I haven't done yet because I'm not going to have internet in Syria for a long time. Did we come through there? I believe we did. Come through here? Yes, we did. Let's go back up. Ooh, like that. Got my nice clean sandals, dusty. It's just vast, it really is a labyrinth. Very interesting. This is where the Jabberwockies would have hung out. God, I love this. No health and safety. Love it. Your 5-year-old would just fall straight out. Oh, goodness. I don't know where people have dropped their phones out there. How many Chinese tourists taking selfies have fallen back. But yeah, here's a little... so I hope the image is quite good. I think I've got my flashlight on, but if I turn it off, it might turn off the recording, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, the one issue with Lebanon is, so far, nicest people I've come across. Genuinely, I really mean that. I rank them #1 in the world thus far on this 2-week... maybe a little long, 2-week trip. But there is a lot of trash, and it's just unnecessary. It's nothing to do with conflict or poverty or anything like that. It's just the culture, which is pretty much the case in most Arab places. I think the worst I've seen is Iraq, but Lebanon is pretty close, if not the same. But yeah, look at this. I mean, we would have had the original river, I assume, where this drainage canal is coming through. The castle would have swept over that, controlling the trade to the port, to the sea. Getting dusty here. Sandy. Very interesting. It's nice, isn't it? When you go to castles, wherever you are in the world, it really makes you feel like you're on holiday. A castle is like at least for British, it's a mandatory excursion. Whenever you see something in a little fortification, you have to be like, oh, let's go check that out. Check out the fortification bunker. Is it German or is it medieval? So I think we were just down there. I think we were down there, were we? I don't know. I think we were. I just realised you can't see anything. Maybe that's where they threw the Jays in the pit, so they couldn't. More likely, this was a pit built by the Jays for anyone that decided to oppose their monetary regime of infinite exploitation. Perhaps this was a giant modern concentration camp that was petrified under a natural cataclysm, and now we look at it today with false narratives as being somehow a discernment of a future age of less advanced populations, and I disagree with all of that, actually. God. Jesus, how deep is that? I know you can't see, I'm just using the phone. It's not that deep. I think we might have been down there. Yeah, I mean, this thing is just so complex. It's like a barracks or a camp. I guess a fortress was an earlier form of barracks. Just look at this. So I can see, naturally, whether I sponsor the main narrative or not, there's going to be so many additions, as with most structures. I mean, you can see the difference between here and here. Oh, this is all modern. This is all brand new, rebuilt. This is where the shilly, satanic, ritualistic archaeologists, and I say that loosely in inverted commas, they work out, how can we now manipulate this construct to fit with our historical narrative that promotes a certain religion above all else other as being the chosen people? Very clever. Everything takes time over centuries and centuries. If we're to take the reset as an accurate depiction of our historical timeline as human beings, as just infinite resets of advanced civilizations being intentionally crippled and deconstructed to bring life back to an earlier, less advanced form for the purpose of infinite exploitation, then all of these things will be laid out in a way that prevents people, I guess, for easily discerning truth. I see this all the time. They just fucking sit here for years. Someone's getting paid. A lot of it's just a money scheme as well. I mean, the UN and all this nonsense, it's all about, God, look at that. That is fantastic, isn't it? Look at this. These organisations, it's all just money laundering. They get these huge back grants, and then they spend 100,000 years putting one block upon another, billing the various governments that are already in infinite amounts of debt created by the same overlords that are sponsoring this fictitious narrative. I wonder why that's closed. I wonder what's in there. Ooh, that would be cheeky. Should we have a look? There's just someone chilling in there. Here's another example. So this would have been another one of these so-called slits for what they say enabled archers to defend. Just look at all the just mess here. Everything is just reconstructed, and then they're put on and say, oh, we don't really understand what happened. It's just addition after addition over hundreds and hundreds of years. Certain places were blocked off, I guess to solidify the structure. Things have changed and altered. It's just nothing makes sense. It's just like a total mess. Presumably this would have been an arch over here that would have collapsed in on itself. Perhaps that too, which they've rebuilt, but then that blocks off what would have been an original outer wall, which are extensions. Just a mess, isn't it? That's how they want it. They want it to be confusing. So this video might last quite a while. I think it's better just to put one out instead of me doing little clips, unless there's something really magical, then I'll do a little panoramic or something. So this is something you always see as well, which again sponsors the idea of the cataclysm, although they would say it's, people eating snails and disposing of their foods in the landscape as you would. There wouldn't have been any trash, we're told, at that point, because they were all inhuman, dishevelled, unadvanced creatures, hence why they constructed this magnificent structure. But I've been up to high points and topographical high points, and I've seen where no one has resided, lived, ever. Tons and tons of sea material. So that shows Great Flood theory has a level of accuracy to it. This is fantastic. Did we go down in there? I don't think we did we? God, I wonder if that looks more like a chapel or something. A chapel or a pit where the Jays would throw us to fight for our freedom, Spartacus style. Oh, it is almost like that, like a little gladiatorial arena. Probably a chapel of some kind. Just take the standard narrative. Yeah, so all that's being rebuilt. All of this. There's still like a military presence here, hence the barbed wire, and you'll see some soldiers wandering around. So I assume it's used as a communications tower. You always take the high point, right? I wonder when this was constructed, and it would be interesting to know how much money has been poured into it. Should we go down here? Let's try and explore every little thing. And I know the quality of the camera's bad. I apologise. Oh, did we go down here? I don't believe we did. So there's one of these chambers in the castle in Jordan, which I can't for the life of me remember the name of, and it's vast. It's just absolutely sensational. It's 5-6 times the size of this, but yeah, also a French Templar castle. It's fantastic, isn't it? You can go all the way up there. How do we get there? Get up there. And they've barbed wired that bit off. Should still be able to get up to that piece. I think I was. Let's go and have a wander. Do you see what they meant now when they said you can spend many hours here? Look at this. Sort of a water channel. Right. Huh. Just picturing like a little pink piggy splashing around in there, like the pet of the king's autistic daughter. Can we get another piggy, Daddy? Right. This is another thing that I notice everywhere. I mean, really, do we honestly believe that this stone in its current form, this matter in its current form, would have been worn down by people's footsteps. They say that with cobbles, don't they, on cobbled streets, so you see they're smoothed out and everyone's like, oh no, yes, that's through thousands of years of, walking people's feet on stone. It creates these indentations. That is absolute bullshit. That's another fictitious, just a lie to make people believe, again, that these structures were built from what we call stone. All of this, I promise you, was organic matter at one point before a cataclysm of kinds. Whether it's stone, whether it's sort of mud, it certainly wasn't a rock, as we now refer to such substances as, after the petrification has completed. Oh, we can't go around there. There's a little cat over there. Let's have a look. So it is a nice castle, though. I'm hoping we can get some good views of the city. Look at this little kitty in the rose bed. Let's see. Hello. Look at this. A castle kitty. Looks like a little wolf. Probably jump over this as well. Cats are legendary. So let's go up the restored section. I think we can go down there, up there, and across, or perhaps just up there we can venture up to the top of the tower, get some views of the town. So we were down there. I don't think I did a video though. It's not where we started. Here we go. Ah, oh, lovely. Look at that. Majestic. And I think that over there, sorry, I can't see what you're seeing, the sun is too bright. I think that over there, on the other side of the water, is Syria, because we're very close to the border, or the fringe, the last piece of Lebanon before the border. There's the trash. Get a view of the ramparts. Ah, here we go. It's nice, isn't it? Huh. It is a lovely castle. As castles go, it's very pretty. And you always have to have almost like a little COX of trees. Let's go see Mr. Kitty. It's definitely a Mr. Look at his little spot. If you can see that on the camera. Get him in the shade. Aww, kitty. He's like, go away. This is my alone time. Ooh. I am trying to do this rapidly. I am enjoying it, but I don't have the time to wander around for 4 or 5 hours, and also I'll be seeing a load of castles in Syria. I've mapped out maybe 24. Whether that's going to come to fruition or not, we shall see. I guess to the point where things sort of blend in and they all become one. God, I can't even see my own phone screen. Castle was built in 1102 to 1103, this is their narrative, atop a Fatimid period Shiite cemetery with an octagonal mausoleum. Tombstones engraved in Kufic Arabic script were discovered during archaeological excavations in the 1970s. Construction of the castle was started by Raymond de Saint-Gilles, one of the first crusade commanders to reinforce the siege of Tripoli city. The mausoleum was transformed into a Christian chapel where maybe that was the chapel then. Yes, it was. Good guess. A Christian chapel where the original mihrab located in the south wall was modified into a bay window and an apse was added on the east wall. In the 12th century, a church was constructed in this location by the Franks. The chapel was therefore turned into a crypt with an 8-sided pyramid-shaped roof, probably because it was satanic. This is where the Masons come from, or associated with the Templars, who come supposedly from the Corsican pirates, or the Corsican pirates were a derivative of the fleeing and decaying Templar fraternity. Anyway, after the capture of the castle by the Mameluke Sultan Baybars in 1267, the bay window was sealed and restored, and the former Fatimid Mausoleum became a Muslim place of worship. There we go. Let's have a look. Throw some facts out there for people when I'm wandering along. This is a impressive steel beam. Morocco, which is completely unrelated to this country or this castle, is the first nation to recognise US independence. Do you know why? Because the Moroccan flag, just like Morocco itself, comes from the Moorish people, the Empire of the Moors, who are perhaps associated with Atlantis, whether that was off the coast of Morocco, around perhaps modern-day Cape Verde, in some of the Spanish islands, or whether it was in modern-day Mauritania in the desert, where you can, if you input that on YouTube, you'll see all sorts of theories about a kind of cataclysm. And yeah, anyway, there's a little pointless fact. Not pointless, but certainly not related. God, it's beautiful. See, this is one of these places where you think, I don't usually like when things are commercialised, like historical sites. This is quite nice, you know. If you go to Central Asia, everything is just knocked down and rebuilt, so it looks like a Disneyland. But this is a kind of place where you want like a little coffee shop. Just here, look at it. Isn't that beautiful? Little benches. I like that tree. It's gorgeous, isn't it? What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to pause this and do a part 2 in 4 minutes, because I want to clean the lens and turn off the flashlight. So going to the central area now. This part of the castle comprises a Frankish cemetery to the south, a central Ottoman prison, and a rectangular building to the west. The Frankish cemetery was uncovered during the archaeological excavations in the 1970s. The area was backfilled in 2011 to reduce the risk of rainwater infiltration into the lower galleries and protecting the cemetery remains. We saw the drainage actually. I think that's where the video actually started. The Ottoman prison was accessed from the outside through a reinforced door that leads into a small vaulted entrance. The prison itself consisted of 2 large halls and latrines to the west of the prison. It's a concealed water cistern. The rectangular building was reconstructed during the Ottoman era. It is accessed through a staircase on the side of the prison. The building consists of 16 vaulted alcoves with latrines and served as barracks for army officers. Today it houses an exhibition hall. The video started, I think, in the dark. It's one of the worst entries to a video. That might have been what they call a prison entrance. But I know there are tunnels that go all the way 10 k's basically into the old city. Look at this gate. Hello. Nice bit of shade. Oh, big old tree. Oh, another little fascinating piece of info. So when you go to British castles, not specifically British castles, but mainly, you'll see in every castle an elm tree. This isn't an elm tree, but it's just reminding me of such. And they say, and I'll tell you why this is complete bullshit, but they say that elm wood was the best wood for the longbow, which is what they say enabled the British, or the English, I should say, at that period in history, to defeat a lot of its enemies, like the French, who were using primarily the mechanised crossbow. There could be an element of truth to that, but I think it's bullshit. The real reason is that the elm tree is a symbol of the occult. It always has been. Nightmare on Elm Street, all these sorts of things. George Washington, I believe, is he has elm inscribed, or he was born, or something related to the elm tree is applied to Washington, and there's so many other figures. It's a representation of Freemasonry. They're all Freemasons. The crypt we see down there is probably symbolically associated in its architecture with the Masonic fraternal organisations, which is what the Templars essentially were. Just thought that might be of interest to some people. And it's very nice. Look there. Look at this. Don't know if this is bits of masonry they've laid it out. Perhaps it was. Oh yeah, I guess. Perhaps it's a wall that's collapsed, and they've. Look at this. Very nice, isn't it? Anyway, so I'll leave the video here because we're on 29:50, and I'll do a part 2 if I feel the need. In which case, this will be listed as part 1, and you can click on the channel and see the second one.